Hey y'all, I always wanted to do a story time on how I knew my first marriage. That is the one that cultivated Lady V. How I knew it was over. How I knew it was over. I kind of knew it was over not after cheating multiple times, not after not coming home multiple times, not none of that. I kind of knew a particular day that it was an instance that was with my children. So my boys were probably, I think they were starting the 6th grade. I want to say the 6th grade. Yeah, it was the 6th grade. They were starting elementary school. That's the 6th grade. And me and my husband, my ex-husband, we were married for, we got married in 2006. And around that time, I was actually given a lot of reasons to leave this man. From the cheating multiple times to his family knowing he was cheating on me and I didn't know, his brother trying to warn me not to marry him, me seeing multiple women, countless times, y'all, countless. And what really triggered me leaving was one day my boys were starting elementary school. And this man had stayed out all night long again. Another episode in my life of not coming home, being a husband. So that night, I made sure I called him and I told him, I said, hey, listen, whatever you do, if you don't come home tomorrow, just make sure you are home so we can take these kids to their open house together. Now, mind you, I had twins. I had 2 boys. So, early that morning, I get up. This man didn't come home. And he was with a mistress then. The same girl that I had been telling y'all about forever. He was actually with her. I knew he was with her. But the thing about it was, come home. Do this for me, at least be there for them kids. That's my mindset. That's my rationality. Not even being there for me, being there for them boys. So I get up, put the boys' clothes on, get them ready. And I remember we had to be there like 10 a.m. It was in the auditorium. So, y'all, I get there by myself. I had an SUV then. I pull up. I remember all of this. Now, my boys are 20, going on 28 years old this year. So, imagine the time, and I can still tell it like it's that, like night and day. I tell him, I said, make sure you're there. Again, woke up that morning, he hadn't came home. So I said, he'll be there. He knows where their school is. He gonna show up for them boys. Y'all, I go in the auditorium by myself with my 2 boys. I'm sitting there looking at the door because they were about to start. So I'm looking at the door, waiting on my husband to walk in. When I say husband, I mean husband, not boyfriend, not significant other, not baby daddy, my husband. So before they started, because I got there like 30 minutes earlier, so I can find a seat, I'm calling him. I'm going to voicemail, y'all. This man done turned his phone off. So then I call his dad, because me and his dad, I can say the only one out of his family that I respect, that tried to help me He did a lot for me. So I called his dad and I said, his dad answered for me. I said, where, let's just call my ex-husband, JT. Where's JT? I don't know. What's going on? What's going on, daughter? I said, well, the kids had their open house today, and I asked him to make sure he's here for me and them boys, them kids, and I can't find him. Y'all, his daddy said, hold on. So his daddy calls him, and he miraculously answers the phone, which means he had me blocked where I couldn't call my husband. I'm like, what the fuck? So his daddy reached him and said, call your wife. So I'm standing in the auditorium. Well, I went back to my seat, and I'm in the auditorium. He calls me. I don't know if he texted me or he called me. And I said, no, he called me, because I remember telling him, I said, where are you? He's still in like an hour away. So I said, you're not gonna, are you serious? You're not going to at least be here for them boys to start 6th grade? I knew he wasn't gonna be able to make it. I mean, an hour away. So I hung up the phone. Now, this is what really did it for me in this marriage. This is how I really knew that I cannot do this no more. Y'all, imagine being in an auditorium full of women with no rings on, and their boyfriends or significant others sitting right there with them, and I'm married, and I can't even get my husband, who promised me that he was going to take care of me and my boys. And I'm sitting up there like he my boyfriend. That's what really, really done it for me. So I looked over at my boys. This is it, y'all. And y'all gonna feel what I'm saying. This is gonna help somebody. I promise you it is. I looked over to my boys. Sometimes it takes your kids for you to realize the pain that they are seeing and you're showing them in this toxic ass relationships that we carry on for too long. I looked over my boys, and I said, because I could only be at one classroom at one time, and they had a time slot, so I could only go with one child. And my oldest boy, 6 minutes apart, he turned to me and he looked at me, and he said, because I had done dropped a tear, and he said, Mama, it's okay, I can go by myself. If that don't help you, I don't know what will. That right there is how I knew and what made me make the decision to cut that shit off. Because he didn't respect me, the marriage, and now he's hurting my boys. They seeing things that I don't want them to see as small kids. And when my baby turned to me, not the baby, but the oldest boy, which is my baby, turned to me and said to me, because he heard the conversation, he said, Mama, I can go by myself. Now, one of my boys had to meet his teacher alone. That story in itself should help somebody understand that you are more than enough with all that bullshit that we have going on. I'm not saying cut your marriage off, but when you see and feel certain things, then you know it's time to let it go. I'll be back with some more stories, y'all. I promise you. Because I got a lot. And I'll use my painful stories to heal anybody from that shit called heartbreak. All right? Make sure y'all join me. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.